Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is often the one saying the least? How the people who seem most certain about everything are frequently the ones who understand the least? There's something strange about intelligence that nobody talks about. We think of it as this fixed, measurable thing, a number on a test, a degree on a wall, a title on a business card. But real intelligence, the kind that actually matters in daily life, reveals itself in the smallest, most unexpected ways. And here's what's fascinating. The habits that signal low intelligence aren't what you'd expect. They're not about lacking education or struggling with complex ideas. They're about something far more subtle, something that happens in the space between what we know and what we are willing to admit we don't know. So what if I told you that some of your most automatic, everyday behaviors might be quietly broadcasting something about how you process the world? Would you want to know? The paradox of certainty. Let's start here, with the person who has an opinion about everything. You know this person. Maybe you've been this person. They walk into a conversation about quantum physics, Mediterranean politics, or the best way to raise children, and within seconds, they've got it all figured out. No hesitation. No doubt. Just pure, unshakable certainty. And here's the thing. It feels powerful, doesn't it? To know. To be sure. To never have to sit in that uncomfortable space of, I don't know. But the psychology behind this runs deeper than confidence. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's one of the most replicated findings in cognitive psychology. The research shows us something profound. People with the least knowledge in a domain consistently overestimate their competence, while genuine experts tend to underestimate theirs. Why? Because true understanding reveals complexity. The more you learn about something, the more you realize how much you don't know. Real intelligence isn't about having all the answers, it's about appreciating the questions. When you meet someone who's certain about everything, what you are actually witnessing is a failure of metacognition. They can't think about their own thinking. They can't see the gaps in their understanding because they don't know enough to recognize that gaps exist. The inability to change your mind. But here's where it gets complex. It's not just about being wrong. We are all wrong sometimes. It's about what happens when evidence appears that contradicts what you believe. Watch how someone responds when presented with information that challenges their worldview. Do they get curious? Do they ask questions? Or do they get defensive, dismissive, angry? The truth is, changing your mind is one of the most intelligent things you can do. It requires cognitive flexibility, the ability to hold multiple perspectives simultaneously, to integrate new information, to revise your understanding based on evidence. But for people operating at lower levels of cognitive complexity, ideas become identity. If you challenge their opinion, you are not questioning a thought, you are attacking who they are. And that's why conversations become battles. That's why discussions turn into arguments. Because they are not defending an idea, they are defending themselves. Think about the smartest people you know. Really think about them. Chances are, they're the ones who say, I never thought about it that way, or, you know what, I was wrong about that. They're the ones who can hold their beliefs lightly enough to examine them. The pattern of interruption. Here's something you've probably experienced. You are mid-sentence, building toward a point, and someone cuts you off. Not once. Not accidentally. But repeatedly, predictably, as if what you are saying is just filler before they get to speak again. And this is where it gets interesting. Because interruption isn't just rude, it's revealing. When someone constantly interrupts, they are showing you that they can't hold two processes simultaneously, listening and preparing to speak. They can't absorb your words while formulating their response. So they stop listening early, jump in with whatever thought has formed, and completely miss the point you were making. This is called working memory limitation, and it's one of the strongest correlates with general intelligence. People with higher cognitive capacity can maintain multiple threads of thought at once. They can listen to you, process what you are saying, notice the subtext, track the logical structure, and prepare a relevant response, all simultaneously. But here's what's really happening when someone interrupts. They are telling you that their thought is more important than your completion. Not because they are necessarily cruel or selfish, but because they literally cannot manage the cognitive load of waiting. Their idea feels urgent because their mind can't hold it while also holding yours. The smartest conversationalists? They are the ones who create space, who ask follow-up questions, who say, tell me more about that, instead of, that reminds me of when I. The refusal to say, I don't know. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard someone say, genuinely and without shame, "I don't know"? It's rare, isn't it? Because somewhere along the way, we learned that, "I don't know," means weakness, ignorance, failure. But the psychology of this runs deeper. When someone can't admit what they don't know, they are operating from what psychologists call a fixed mindset, the belief that intelligence is static, that you either know things or you don't, and that admitting ignorance is admitting deficiency. People with higher cognitive functioning understand something crucial. "I don't know" is not an ending. It's a beginning. It's the starting point of curiosity, of learning, of growth. Watch what happens after someone admits ignorance. Do they stay there, in that admission, as if it's a shameful endpoint? Or do they follow it with questions, with interest, with, "But I'd like to understand"? The difference is everything. Because here's the truth, you can't learn what you pretend to already know. Every time you fake understanding, you close a door to actual understanding. Every time you nod along when you are confused, you rob yourself of clarity. And maybe that's the real intelligence test, not what you know, but how comfortable you are with what you don't. The absence of nuance. There's a particular way some people talk about complex issues. Everything is black and white, good or bad, right or wrong, us or them. No gray areas, no context. No, it depends. And at first, this might seem like clarity, like someone who knows where they stand. But what it actually reveals is an inability to manage cognitive complexity. Research in developmental psychology shows us that cognitive sophistication develops in stages. Lower stages are characterized by either-or thinking. Higher stages embrace paradox, contradiction, and context dependence. When someone can't hold to seemingly contradictory truths at once, they are not being principled, they are being cognitively limited. Because reality is contradictory. People are contradictory. You can be kind and cruel, brave and afraid, right and wrong simultaneously. The ability to think in shades of gray, to say, both things can be true, to recognize that the answer really is, it depends, that's not wishy-washy. That's sophisticated. But here's what's fascinating. Nuance requires mental bandwidth. You have to hold multiple perspectives in mind at once, weigh competing values. The pattern of blame. Pay attention to how someone explains their failures, their setbacks, their disappointments. Is it always someone else's fault? The system, their boss, their ex, their parents, their circumstances? Or can they look at their own role in the story? This isn't about self-blame or toxic responsibility. It's about something psychologists call locus of control, where you locate the power to change things. People with external locus of control see themselves as victims of forces beyond their influence. Things happen to them. Life is unfair. Other people are the problem. People with internal locus of control, which correlates with higher cognitive functioning, understand their agency. They ask, what could I have done differently? They see their choices as creating outcomes. But here's the thing, this requires a sophisticated ability to self-reflect, to look at yourself honestly, to tolerate the discomfort of recognizing your own mistakes. When someone chronically blames others, they are not just avoiding responsibility. They are revealing an inability to engage in complex causal reasoning. Because most situations aren't simply one person's fault. Most outcomes emerge from multiple factors, including our own decisions and behaviors. The person who can say, yes, they treated me unfairly, and also, I could have handled it differently, that person is demonstrating cognitive complexity. The inability to explain. Here's a test. Ask someone to explain something they claim to understand. Not to repeat it. Not to cite what they've heard. But to explain it in their own words, in a way a child could grasp. Watch what happens. People with superficial understanding will use big words, technical jargon, complex language. They'll talk in circles. They'll say things like, well, it's basically when the thing does the thing because of the other thing. But here's what's really happening. They are revealing the illusion of knowledge. They think they understand because they've heard the words. They can recognize the concept when someone mentions it. But they haven't actually integrated the knowledge deeply enough to reconstruct it in their own way. This is called the illusion of explanatory depth, and research shows it's pervasive. We vastly overestimate how well we understand how things work, until we are asked to explain them. The truly intelligent? They can make the complex simple. Not because they are dumbing it down, but because they understand it well enough to rebuild it from the ground up. They've internalized the principles so deeply that they can express them in multiple ways. Einstein said it best, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. The absence of curiosity. But the truth is, all of these patterns point to something deeper. Something that might be the most reliable marker of intelligence there is. Curiosity. Not the performance of curiosity, asking questions to seem engaged, but genuine, childlike wonder about how things work, why people do what they do, what it all means. Watch someone who never asks questions, who never follows up, who never says, how, or why, or what do you mean by that? What you are seeing is a closed system, a mind that stopped growing. Because here's what neuroscience tells us, the brain is plastic. It changes based on how we use it. When we engage with novelty, when we encounter ideas that challenge us, when we stay curious, our neural networks literally reorganize themselves. We build new connections. We strengthen existing pathways. But when we stay in the familiar, when we avoid the uncomfortable, when we stop asking questions, our brains stagnate. Curiosity isn't just a personality trait. It's an active practice of intelligence. It's how we keep our minds flexible, adaptive, growing. The person who's still curious at 70 is smarter than the person who stopped wondering at 25, regardless of their IQ scores. The fear of being wrong. And this is where it all comes together. Because underneath all of these patterns, the certainty, the interruption, the refusal to admit ignorance, the absence of nuance, the blame, the superficial understanding, the lack of curiosity, there's one common thread. Fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of not knowing. Fear of being exposed as less intelligent than you want people to think you are. And here's the paradox. That fear is precisely what keeps you there. Because intelligence isn't about never being wrong. It's about how you handle being wrong. It's about whether you can learn from it, grow from it, become more accurate in your understanding because of it. The people who are most afraid of being wrong are the ones who stay wrong the longest. They can't admit errors because errors feel like identity threats. So they defend, deny, deflect. And in doing so, they rob themselves of the very experiences that would make them smarter. But the people who can say, I was wrong, who can laugh at their mistakes, who can treat their errors as data rather than disasters, those are the people who keep learning, who keep growing, who keep getting smarter. Because here's what's really happening. They've separated their worth from their knowledge. They've understood that being wrong about something doesn't make you a wrong person. It just makes you human. The path forward. So if you've recognized yourself in any of these patterns, and most of us will, because we all fall into these traps sometimes, what now? First, take a breath. Because awareness is the beginning of change. You can't modify what you can't see. Second, practice the pause. Before you speak with certainty, ask yourself, how sure am I really? What evidence do I have? What might I be missing? Third, make I don't know your new favorite phrase. Say it out loud. Get comfortable with it. Notice how liberating it feels to stop pretending. Fourth, seek out conversations with people who think differently than you do. Not to debate them or convert them, but to understand how the world looks from where they stand. Fifth, ask more questions. Real ones. Questions you genuinely want answers to. How did you come to that conclusion? What makes you say that? Help me understand your perspective. And finally, be gentle with yourself. Because becoming more intelligent isn't about being harsh with your limitations. It's about being curious about them. It's about treating your mind like a garden that can always grow more, rather than a fixed structure that's already built. Remember that person we talked about at the beginning? The one who seems certain about everything? Who never says, I don't know? Who can't change their mind? Maybe that person isn't who you thought. Maybe they're not arrogant or stubborn or foolish. Maybe they're just scared. Scared of the uncertainty that real thinking requires. Scared of the vulnerability that true learning demands. And maybe the real intelligence is recognizing that in yourself. The moments when you choose certainty over curiosity. When you defend instead of listening. When you pretend to know instead of admitting you don't. Because here's the beautiful truth. Intelligence isn't what you are. It's what you do. It's the questions you ask, the way you listen, the humility you bring to your own understanding. Every conversation is a chance to practice. Every mistake is a chance to learn. The smartest thing you can do today is admit what you didn't know yesterday. And maybe that's the real sign of intelligence, not having all the answers, but staying endlessly, courageously curious about the questions.